Two-year-old boy stuns judge with a sentence that stopped the courtroom. The family court was completely silent when Tyler Johnson, just 8 years old, held the microphone with his small, trembling hands and looked straight at the judge. "Judge Richard, I can't lie anymore," the boy said, making everyone in the room hold their breath. His childlike voice echoed through the Boston County Courthouse. Judge Richard Peterson, a 53-year-old man known for his expertise in delicate cases involving children, leaned forward in his chair. There was something in the blue eyes of that blonde boy that made him realize this moment would change everything. Jennifer Johnson, Tyler's mother, felt her heart race. She squeezed the hand of her attorney, Sarah Williams, who also sensed something unexpected was about to happen. Across the room, Brian Johnson, the boy's father, swallowed hard. The tension in the air was palpable. "Go on, Tyler," the judge encouraged softly. "You're safe here." The boy took a deep breath. His eyes scanned the room, passing over his paternal grandparents, Grandma Betty and Grandpa Frank, then his maternal grandparents, Grandma Margaret and Grandpa William. Everyone waited anxiously. The custody battle had dragged on for months, ever since Jennifer and Brian's messy separation. "My mom said if I didn't say I wanted to live only with her, my dad would take me far away, and I'd never see Grandma Margaret again." Tyler paused, the freckles on his face more visible under the fluorescent light. "But my dad also said, if I chose to stay with him, my mom would get really sick and it would be my fault." A murmur spread through the room. Jennifer stood abruptly. "Tyler, sweetheart, that's not how—" "Mrs. Johnson, please sit down," the judge interjected, firmly. "Let the child speak. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story," Tyler continued, his voice growing more confident. "But there's something no one knows. Something I saw that no one wants me to tell." Brian paled. Jennifer gripped her attorney's arm tighter. The grandparents exchanged confused glances. The social worker, Kelly Bennett, who had been following the case for 3 months, picked up her pen, ready to note every word. "What did you see, Tyler?" the judge asked, keeping his tone calm despite the rising tension. "The day my parents had their last fight before they separated." Tyler hesitated, looking at the floor. "I wasn't asleep like they thought." Flashback to 6 months earlier. The Johnson home in Brookline was usually a happy place. Jennifer worked as a teacher at a private school, while Brian managed a small tech company. To everyone who knew them, they seemed like the perfect couple. But on that March night, something changed forever. Tyler, who was supposed to be asleep in his room decorated with superhero posters, had woken up thirsty. He tiptoed downstairs, as he always did when he wanted water without waking his parents. That's when he heard the raised voices coming from the living room. "Back in the courtroom," Tyler continued. "I saw when that woman arrived. The woman my dad hugged and my mom started screaming at." Brian sank into his chair. No, it couldn't be this. He looked desperately at his attorney, Mark Wilson, who seemed just as shocked as he was. "Tyler," Jennifer cut in quickly. "You must be confused, sweetheart. There wasn't any woman—" "Yes, there was, Mom," Tyler interrupted, his child's voice carrying a conviction beyond his years. "It was Aunt Amanda, your sister, Mom, the one you said was gone forever." The silence that followed was deafening. Jennifer turned pale as a sheet. Grandma Margaret, her mother, clutched her chest. "Amanda? Her daughter who had left 5 years ago after a terrible family fight?" "Go on, Tyler," said Judge Richard, sensing there was much more to this story than a simple custody dispute. "Aunt Amanda was crying so hard. She hugged my dad and said, 'Brian, I can't keep hiding this anymore. Jennifer needs to know the truth about that day.'" The courtroom, with its beige walls and austere furniture, seemed to have shrunk. Everyone present was barely breathing, waiting for what came next. Sarah Williams, Jennifer's attorney, scribbled frantic notes. On the opposite side, Mark Wilson whispered something into Brian's ear, who shook his head firmly. "And then," urged the judge, "wait, what happened next?" Tyler looked at his mother. There was pain in his childlike eyes, a forced maturity no 8-year-old should have. "My mom started yelling at Aunt Amanda. She said horrible things. She said she'd—" Destroyed our family once and wouldn't let it happen again. My dad tried to calm them both down, but..." The boy paused, fighting back tears. The social worker, Kelly Bennett, stepped closer, offering him a tissue and a glass of water. Tyler took a sip before continuing. "But then my mom said something about a secret, something about Grandpa William and why Aunt Amanda had to leave." Grandpa William, Tyler's maternal grandfather, who had been quiet in his corner until then, stood up abruptly. "This has gone too far," exclaimed the 72-year-old man. "I won't allow a child to be used for—" "Mr. William Taylor," Judge Richard interrupted firmly, "you will sit down now or I'll have to ask you to leave the room. We're here to listen to Tyler, and that's exactly what we'll do." "Grandma." Margaret pulled her husband back into his seat, whispering something in his ear. His face was red with anger or shame. It was hard to tell. Tyler swallowed hard and went on. "After that, my dad said he couldn't live with so many lies anymore, that I deserved to grow up in a family where people truly loved each other, not where they pretended for my sake." Jennifer began to cry, silently. Brian covered his face with his hands. The four grandparents exchanged glances heavy with decades of untold stories. "That's when my mom said the saddest thing," Tyler said, tears now streaming down his face. "She said she'd rather lose me than let the truth come out. That some things were too big to forgive." Judge Richard paused, processing everything he'd heard. In his 25 years on the bench, he'd rarely encountered such a complex situation. It was clear this custody battle was just the tip of a much larger family iceberg. "Tyler," he said gently, "you're very brave for telling us this. But I need you to tell me, what do you want? Forget what your parents have said. What does your heart say?" The boy wiped his tears with the back of his hand, leaving a damp trail on his freckled cheek. "I want my family to stop keeping secrets. I want Aunt Amanda to come back. I want Grandpa William to stop getting mad every time someone says her name. I want Grandma Margaret to stop crying in secret. I want my parents to stop fighting over things that happened before I was born." "And where do you want to live?" asked the judge. "I want to live where everyone can visit me without fighting, where I don't have to choose between the people I love." At that moment, the courtroom door opened. Everyone turned to see who dared interrupt the session. A woman around 35 stepped in hesitantly. She had the same green eyes as Jennifer, the same wavy brown hair, but her face bore the marks of suffering. "Amanda!" exclaimed Grandma Margaret, standing up. "Excuse me," said Amanda, addressing the judge. "I know I shouldn't be here, but when I found out my nephew was being forced to carry the weight of our mistakes, I couldn't stay away." Jennifer stood up, her face a mix of anger and pain. "How dare you show up here? After everything you—" "Jennifer, please," Amanda interrupted her. "Enough. Tyler is right. This family has suffered enough from secrets and lies." Judge Richard banged his gavel, calling for order. "Ma'am, who are you and why are you interrupting this hearing?" "My name is Amanda Taylor. I'm Tyler's aunt and—" She took a deep breath. "And I think I'm the key to understanding why this family is falling apart." Brian stood up as well. "Amanda is right, Your Honor. There are things that need to be said, things that directly affect my son's well-being." "Our son," Jennifer corrected automatically, but the hostility had faded from her voice. The judge glanced at his watch. It was almost noon, and what should have been a straightforward hearing was turning into something far more complicated. "Let's take a break for lunch," he decided. "We'll reconvene at 2 o'clock. And I suggest everyone use this time to reflect on what truly matters here, Tyler's well-being." As everyone began to rise, Tyler ran to his Aunt Amanda and hugged her. It was a tight, desperate embrace, as if he could somehow mend the broken pieces of his family through that one gesture. "I missed you, Auntie," he whispered. Amanda knelt to meet her nephew's height, tears streaming down her face. "I missed you too, sweetheart. Every single day." Jennifer watched the scene, wrestling with her own emotions. Brian approached, hesitantly. "Jennifer, we need to talk. All of us need to talk." "5 years, Brian," Jennifer said without looking at him. 5 years keeping this hidden. I promised I wouldn't say anything. Amanda made me promise, and you chose her promise over our marriage." Jennifer finally faced him. "It wasn't like that," Amanda interjected. "Brian was the only person who helped me when I needed it most. When even our own family—" "It's enough," Grandpa William struck his cane on the floor. "We won't air our dirty laundry in public." "Dad," Jennifer turned to him, "it's long past time we aired that laundry. Look what your secrets have done to my son." Grandma Margaret stepped forward, her face marked by years of deep sorrow. "William, my love, please. We've already lost a daughter for 5 years. Are we going to lose our grandson too?" "Grandma." Tyler tugged at Grandma Margaret's skirt. Why did Aunt Amanda have to leave? The silence that followed was heavy. The adults exchanged glances, each waiting for someone else to take the lead in answering. "Because I made a mistake, Tyler," Amanda finally said. "A very big mistake that hurt people I loved." "Mistake?" Grandpa William scoffed. "You call that a mistake?" "Dad, please." Jennifer tried to intervene. "No, Jennifer." The elderly man was red with anger. "Your sister destroyed our family's reputation. Ruined her. Engagement. Ruined." "I fell in love," Amanda shouted, silencing her father. "Is that what you can't forgive? That I fell in love with the wrong person?" The revelation hung in the air. Tyler looked from one adult to another, trying to understand. Brian ran a hand through his hair, visibly uncomfortable. The lawyers and the social worker observed everything, taking notes. "It wasn't the wrong person," said Grandma Betty, Brian's mother, breaking her silence. "It was the right person at the wrong time." Everyone turned to her, surprised. The 68-year-old woman, always so reserved and discreet, stood with quiet dignity. "I know the whole story," she continued. "Brian told me 3 years ago when he started helping Amanda." Jennifer looked at her mother-in-law, then at her husband. 3 years? You've been helping my sister for 3 years and never told me." "Jennifer, Brian began but was interrupted. "I asked him to," said Amanda. "I didn't want to cause more trouble. I just needed help to restart my life. And you went straight to my husband." The bitterness in Jennifer's voice was clear. "He was the only person who treated me like a human being that awful day," Amanda replied. "When everyone turned their backs on me, when our own father kicked me out of the house, Brian was the one who took me to the hospital." "Hospital?" Tyler's eyes widened. Aunt Amanda was sick. Another uncomfortable silence fell. The adults realized they'd gone too far in front of the child. "Tyler," social worker Kelly Bennett said gently, "how about you come with me for some juice while the adults talk?" "No," Tyler clung to his aunt. "I want to understand. Everyone always sends me away when they're going to talk about important things." Judge Richard, who had remained in the room observing everything, intervened. "I believe it would be best to continue this conversation in my chambers. Tyler, you've been very brave today, but now the adults need to sort some things out. Attorney Kelly will take care of you." Reluctantly, Tyler let go of his aunt and followed the social worker. Before leaving, he turned back. "Promise you'll stop fighting." Jennifer was the first to respond, her voice choked. "We'll try, sweetheart. I promise we'll try." When the door closed behind Tyler, the judge addressed the group. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be direct. It's clear there are deep family issues here that are directly affecting this child's well-being. I strongly suggest you consider family mediation before we proceed with the custody dispute." "Mediation?" Grandpa William seemed outraged. "Your Honor, with all due respect, there's nothing to mediate. My daughter Jennifer is an excellent mother and—" "Mr. Taylor," the judge interrupted, "did you hear your grandson? He doesn't want to choose between parents. He wants a united family. And from what I've observed, you all have many issues to work through before that's possible." Grandma Margaret touched her husband's arm. "William, please think of Tyler." "I am thinking of him," he retorted. "That's exactly why I don't want him growing up around—" "Around me?" Amanda finished bitterly. "Go ahead, Dad. You don't want him around the daughter you're ashamed of." "Amanda!" Grandma Margaret tried to intervene. "No, Mum. No more pretending everything's fine. No more sweeping things under the rug. Look where that's gotten us." Brian stepped forward. "Your Honor, I agree to mediation. In fact, I think it's the only way to resolve this without destroying Tyler in the process." Jennifer looked at her ex-husband, then at her sister, then at her parents. Her world had turned upside down in minutes. Everything she believed, all her certainties, had been shaken by her son's confession. "Hi, girl," she began, then paused, taking a deep breath. "I agree too. Tyler deserves better than this." "Good," said the judge. "I'll refer you to Dr. Rebecca Cohen, an excellent family mediator. But let me be clear. If there's no significant progress, in 3 months I'll make a decision based solely on Tyler's best interests." "Understood." Everyone agreed, some more reluctantly than others. As they left the room, Amanda approached Jennifer. "Sis, I know you hate me, but—" "I don't hate you," Jennifer interrupted, tears in her eyes. I missed you every day these past 5 years." The two sisters looked at each other, years of pain and misunderstanding between them. "What happened that day, Amanda? What really happened?" Amanda glanced around. Their parents were speaking with the attorneys. Brian waited at a respectful distance. "It was the worst and best day of my life," she finally said. "The day I lost everything and found myself at the same time. I don't understand." "You will. When I tell you everything, you'll understand, but not here, not like this." Jennifer nodded. There was so much to say, so much to heal. Outside the room, Tyler waited with the social worker. When he saw the adults coming out, he ran to them. "Did you stop fighting?" Jennifer knelt and hugged her son. "We're trying, sweetheart. We'll need time, but we're trying. Can Aunt Amanda visit us now?" Jennifer looked at her sister, then back at her son. "Yes, Tyler, Aunt Amanda can visit us." The smile that lit up the boy's face made all the adults realize how much they had let their own pain hurt the child they claimed to protect. 3 days later, the first mediation session took place in Dr. Rebecca Cohen's office, located in an old mansion in Beacon Hill. The room was warm, with pastel tones and plants that made it feel less intimidating than the courthouse. Present were Jennifer, Brian, Amanda, all 4 grandparents, and in an adjacent room with toys and books, Tyler waited with the social worker. "Welcome," said Dr. Rebecca, a 60-year-old woman with graying hair and a kind smile. "Before we begin, I want to set some ground rules. Here, everyone will have a chance to speak without interruption. The goal isn't to judge or assign blame, but to understand and find solutions." Grandpa William muttered something inaudible, earning a reproachful look from his wife. "Let's start from the beginning," the mediator continued. "Amanda, can you tell us what happened 5 years ago?" Amanda took a deep breath, clasping her hands to steady their trembling. "I was engaged. I was going to marry Ethan Parker, my father's business partner's son. It was the perfect marriage in everyone's eyes. 2 respected families uniting, businesses thriving." "He was a good boy," Grandpa William interrupted, "from a good family with a bright future." "Dad, please," Rebecca gently intervened. "Let Amanda finish." "Ethan was a good man," Amanda agreed. "But I didn't love him, not like that. I tried, I swear I tried. But 3 months before the wedding, I met someone." Jennifer leaned forward, attentive. This part of the story she didn't know in detail. "It was a Friday. I'd gone to finalize the wedding catering details. My car broke down on 5th Avenue, and it started pouring rain. That's when Sam stopped to help me." "Samantha," she corrected herself, seeing the confusion on their faces. "Dr. Samantha Reed. She's a veterinarian." The room fell completely silent. Even Brian, who knew the story, seemed tense. "A woman," Jennifer finally managed to speak. "You fell in love with a woman?" "I fell in love with a person," Amanda answered, tears starting to fall. "An amazing, kind, intelligent person who made me feel alive for the first time." Grandpa William slammed his fist on the table. "Disgraceful. That's what it is. My daughter let herself be led astray by—" "Mr. Taylor," Dr. Rebecca cut in firmly. "That kind of comment isn't tolerated here. If you can't control yourself, I'll have to ask you to leave." Grandma Margaret held her husband's arm, her own eyes filled with tears. "Go on, sweetheart," she said softly, surprising everyone. Amanda looked at her mother gratefully before continuing. "I tried to fight what I felt. I tried to convince myself it was just confusion, that the wedding stress was messing with me. But the more time I spent with Sam, the more I realized it was her I wanted to be with." "And what did you do?" Jennifer asked. 3 weeks before the wedding, I told Ethan everything. He deserved the truth. It was awful. He was devastated, angry, but in the end, He said he suspected something was wrong. He said he loved me, enough to let me go. At least the boy had some dignity, Grandpa William muttered. The problem, Amanda continued, was when the families found out. Ethan's father demanded a public explanation. He wanted me to take the blame for calling off the engagement without mentioning the real reason. But Sam, she said we wouldn't be happy living a lie. Brian, who had stayed quiet until then, finally spoke. It was the day you were supposed to officially announce the cancellation that everything blew up, wasn't it? Amanda nodded. We were all gathered at my parents' house. Both families. Ethan and I were going to announce that the wedding was off due to incompatibility, but my father started pressuring me, saying I was throwing away a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, that I was being childish. She paused, the memory clearly painful. That's when I couldn't take it anymore. I told the truth. I said I loved someone else, and when they asked who, I said her name. The scandal, Grandma Betty murmured. I remember how the news spread through the neighborhood. My father kicked me out right then and there, Amanda went on, now looking straight at Grandpa William. He said I was a disgrace, that I was no longer his daughter. My mother was crying, begging him to calm down, but he wouldn't. Listen, Grandma Margaret finished, glaring at her husband. He never listened when he was angry. And that's when Brian stepped in? Jennifer asked. I was leaving, Brian explained. I'd gone over for dinner with you, remember? When I saw the commotion, Amanda being pushed out, crying in the rain, I couldn't just walk away. You never told me you were there, Jennifer said, hurt, clear in her voice. Amanda made me promise. She didn't want to cause problems between us. He took me to the hospital, Amanda continued. I was in shock, hyperventilating. Then he helped me find a place to stay, lent me money until I could access my savings. And stayed in touch all these years, Jennifer added, the pieces finally falling into place. It wasn't betrayal, Jennifer, Brian said quickly. I helped your sister because it was the right thing to do. She's family. Family my own father rejected, Jennifer said bitterly, looking at Grandpa William. She made a choice, the older man defended himself, chose that lifestyle over her family. No, Dad, Amanda corrected him. I chose to be who I am instead of living a lie, and you chose your pride over your daughter. And Sam, Grandma. Margaret asked timidly. Are you two still? We've been together 5 years, Amanda confirmed, a small smile appearing on her face for the first time. We live in Wellesley. She runs a veterinary clinic. We've built a good life together, despite everything. But you never tried to reconcile with the family, Dr. Rebecca observed. How? Amanda laughed bitterly. My father made it clear I wasn't welcome. Jennifer was pregnant, happy with Brian. I didn't want to be the shadow ruining her happiness. But you were my sister, Jennifer exclaimed. I had the right to decide if I wanted you in my life or not. I know. Amanda lowered her head. I know I was wrong. The fear of being rejected again was stronger than anything. When Tyler was born, Brian sent me pictures. I cried so much. You watched Tyler grow up through photos? Jennifer was visibly shaken. A few. Brian didn't send many. He didn't want to betray your trust more than he already was. But every photo was a treasure to me. Jennifer turned to her ex-husband. Why didn't you ever tell me? Why did you choose her secret? Over our honesty? Brian rubbed his face. Because I saw how much your family suffered when she left. I watched you cry for months. I watched your mother waste away. I watched your father grow even more bitter. I thought I was protecting everyone by keeping Amanda away until the wounds healed. 5 years, Brian. Jennifer raised her voice. The wounds didn't heal, they festered. I know, he shot back in the same tone. I know I was wrong, but every time I thought about telling you, I imagined your father's reaction, the pain it would cause, and you chose to let our marriage die slowly instead. Tears streamed down Jennifer's face. Because that's what happened, wasn't it? Every secret, every omission, it all built a chasm between us. It wasn't just that, Brian admitted. But yes, the secrets played a part. Watching Amanda rebuild her life, finding happiness despite everything, while we were trapped. In appearances, in expectations. You stopped being husband and wife and became just Tyler's parents, Dr. Rebecca observed. They both nodded. the truth too painful to deny. "And now Tyler is paying the price," Grandma Betty said. "That sensitive boy noticed everything, absorbed all the tension, all the unspoken words. That's why that night—" Jennifer began remembering. "When Amanda showed up at the house gate, I couldn't take it anymore," Amanda explained. "It was great-grandma Eleanor's death anniversary. Remember how much she loved us? How she called us her jewels? I'd had a little to drink. I was emotional. I just wanted to see my sister. And I reacted like a madwoman," Jennifer admitted. "Seeing you there after all this time, knowing Brian knew where you were, it was too much." "Tyler heard everything," Brian added grimly. "The yelling, the accusations, the truths hurled like weapons. And he decided. It was his fault," Dr. Rebecca finished. "Like so many children do when parents split up." A heavy silence fell over the room, each of them processing their share of blame in Tyler's pain. It was Grandma Margaret who broke the silence. "Enough," she said, her usually soft voice now firm. "Enough suffering." Everyone turned to her, surprised by her tone. "William," she faced her husband, "we lost 5 years with our daughter. 5 years. We missed seeing her happy, meeting the person she loves, being part of her life. Why? Out of pride? Fear of what others would say? Margaret?" Grandpa William tried to interrupt. "No, you will listen to me now. When our Eleanor died, you promised we'd take care of our girls, that we'd be a united family. Look at us now. Look what we've become." Tears flowed freely down the elderly woman's face. "I want my daughter back. I want to meet Samantha. I want Tyler to grow up knowing love comes in many forms, and all are valid. I'm done pretending everything's fine when my heart is shattered." Grandpa William stared at his wife as if seeing her for the first time in years. Grandma Margaret, always so submissive, so peacemaking, stood there confronting him with a strength he'd forgotten she possessed. "Mom," Jennifer reached for her. "And you, Jennifer," Grandma Margaret continued, "you let bitterness consume you. You let wounded pride speak louder than love for your sister. And Brian, you thought you could fix everything alone, be the silent hero, but you only made things worse." She stood up, still facing her husband. "But the worst of it was us, William. We who should have set the example, who should have shown that a parent's love is unconditional. We failed our daughters." Grandpa William began, but his voice failed. For the first time in years, tears welled in his eyes. "I just wanted to protect our family." "Protect them from what?" Grandma Margaret asked gently. "From love, from happiness, from truth?" The elderly man sank into his chair, looking smaller, frailer. "From judgment," he finally admitted. "From the jokes, the whispers, the disrespect. I worked my whole life to build a reputation, a respectable name for you all, and then you found out having a gay daughter didn't fit the perfect image you created," said Amanda, but without anger, just sadness. "I don't understand," Grandpa William confessed, tears now flowing freely. "I don't understand where did we go wrong?" "You didn't go wrong." Amanda stepped closer to her father for the first time in 5 years. "It's not about right or wrong, it's about who I am. I've always been this way, I just took time to understand and accept it." Grandpa William looked at his daughter, really looked, perhaps for the first time since that fateful night. "Are you happy?" he asked, his voice choked. "Yes, Dad. Despite everything, yes. Sam makes me happy. Our life makes me happy. The only thing missing was you." He reached out a trembling hand and Amanda took it. It was a small gesture but full of meaning. I need time," he said, "to understand, to accept. But," he looked at his wife, then at Jennifer, "but I don't want to lose any of you anymore." Jennifer stood up and hugged her father and sister. Soon Grandma Margaret joined them. Brian watched, moved, while his own parents exchanged meaningful glances. "I think we made important progress today," said Dr. Rebecca softly, "but there's still a lot of work ahead. Jennifer and Brian, you need to decide how to structure custody for Tyler so he feels safe and loved." "I have a suggestion," said Grandma Betty unexpectedly. "Why not start slow, shared custody, but with flexibility, and include Amanda in Tyler's life gradually. And therapy, added Grandpa Frank, speaking for the first time, for the boy and maybe for the couple. Even if you don't get back together, you need to learn to co-parent. Jennifer and Brian exchanged glances. There was so much history between them, so much hurt, but also so much love for Tyler. "I'm in," said Jennifer, "but I want to meet Samantha first, if she's going to be part of my son's life." Corrected Amanda with a smile. "She'd love that. Actually, she adores kids. She's always wanted to meet Tyler." "We can arrange a lunch," suggested Brian, "all together like a family." "A very unconventional family," observed Grandpa William, still wrestling with his prejudices. "The best families rarely are conventional," replied Dr. Rebecca. At that moment, the door opened and Tyler peeked in. "Can I come in? Aunt Kelly said you stopped yelling." Jennifer held out her arms and the boy ran to her. "We just talked, sweetheart, and made some decisions." "Good decisions?" Tyler asked hopefully. "Yes," answered Brian. "You'll keep living with Mom and me, switching weeks, and Aunt Amanda can visit you." "What about her girlfriend?" Tyler asked innocently. "Aunt Samantha, who takes care of the animals?" The adults exchanged surprised glances. "How do you know about her?" asked Jennifer. Tyler blushed slightly. "I heard Dad talking on the phone once. He said Aunt Amanda was happy with Samantha. Does she like kids?" "She loves them," Amanda confirmed, emotional, "and I'm sure she'll adore you." "Cool," Tyler grinned. "Can she teach me about animals?" "Of course she can." The boy thought for a moment, then looked at Grandpa William. "Grandpa, don't you like Aunt Samantha?" "Grandpa." William swallowed hard, all eyes on him. I haven't met her yet, Tyler. But when you do, will you like her?" The boy pressed with the brutal honesty of children. "Because if Aunt Amanda likes her, she must be nice." He looked at his grandson, then at his daughters, at his wife. "I'll try, Tyler. Grandpa promises he'll try." "Okay then." The boy snuggled into his mother's lap. "I just don't want to see everyone sad anymore." 2 weeks later, the family lunch took place at a cozy restaurant in the Cambridge neighborhood. Jennifer chose the spot, neutral, public enough, to avoid major drama, but intimate enough for important conversations. She arrived early with Tyler, as nervous as she hadn't been in years. Brian showed up shortly after, equally tense. "How are you?" he asked. "Terrified," Jennifer admitted. "And you?" "Same. But it's necessary, right?" "Yes," she agreed, watching Tyler play with the menu. For him. Amanda and Samantha arrived together. Jennifer noticed how different her sister looked, lighter, more confident. Samantha was a woman around 33, with short brown hair and a warm smile. "Jennifer," Amanda began nervously. "This is Samantha. Sam, my sister." The two women greeted each other with a handshake that turned into a hesitant hug. "I've heard so much about you," Samantha said. "Amanda missed you terribly." "Me too," Jennifer admitted, surprising herself with her honesty. Tyler, who had been watching everything with his attentive eyes, approached. "Are you the doctor for animals?" "Yes, I am." Samantha knelt to be at his level. "And you must be Tyler. Your aunt showed me so many pictures of you." "Really?" and the boy smiled. "What kind of animals do you take care of?" "In all kinds, dogs, cats, birds, even an iguana now and then." "Wow, can you teach me about them?" "I'd love to." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. The lunch went better than anyone expected. Samantha was charismatic and genuine, winning over not just Tyler but also Jennifer and Brian. They talked about the clinic, Amanda's plans to return to design work, and Tyler's school adventures. "Do you live nearby?" Jennifer asked at one point. "Wellesley," Amanda replied, "in a small but cozy apartment." "With 2 cats," Samantha added. "Whiskers and Mittens." Tyler laughed. "Those are funny names." "They're famous artists," Amanda explained. "I'll tell you their story someday." Brian, who had been quieter, finally spoke up. "I'm happy to see you doing well. Truly." "Thank you for everything, Brian," Amanda said sincerely. "I know it wasn't easy being caught in the middle of all this." "Family is complicated," he shrugged. but it's family. When dessert arrived, Tyler asked the question no one expected. "Aunt Samantha, do you want to be my aunt?" 2. The momentary silence was broken by Samantha's emotional laugh. "I'd love to, Tyler. If your mom and dad agree." Jennifer and Brian exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. "Of course," Jennifer said. "Family is family, like Brian said." "Can I visit you?" Tyler continued excitedly. "See the cats?" "Whenever your parents allow it, you'll be very welcome," Amanda replied. The rest of the lunch was spent making plans, visits, outings, the possibility of Tyler spending an afternoon at the clinic. It was the beginning of a new family dynamic, unconventional but genuine. As they left the restaurant, Jennifer pulled her sister aside. "Amanda, I need to apologize for how I reacted that night, for not reaching out." "No," Amanda interrupted. "I messed up too. I should have trusted you, should have fought harder for our relationship. We were both afraid of rejection." "Not anymore?" Jennifer asked hopefully. "Not anymore," Amanda confirmed, and the sisters hugged, a real, lingering, healing embrace. Watching from a distance, Tyler smiled. His family was strange, different, but they were together. That was all he wanted. A month later, things had settled considerably. Tyler alternated weeks between his mother's and father's homes, but with flexibility for special events. Amanda and Samantha became regular presences, bringing a lightness that had been missing for a long time. The real test came on Grandma, Margaret's birthday. Jennifer organized a lunch at her house, insisting everyone attend, including Amanda and Samantha. Grandpa William hesitated, but Grandma Margaret was firm. "It's my birthday, William. I want both my daughters here." The start was tense. Grandpa William barely greeted Samantha, keeping his distance. But Tyler, with his transformative innocence, broke the ice. "Grandpa, look at the present Aunt Sam helped me make for Grandma." It was a photo album filled with old and new family pictures. Tyler had decorated each page with colorful drawings. "There's a photo of everyone," the boy explained. "Even this one, look. It was an old picture of the two sisters as children with their parents and Grandma Eleanor." "Where did you find this?" Jennifer asked, moved. "Aunt Amanda had it. She keeps a lot of old photos." Grandma Margaret flipped through the album with tears in her eyes. There were moments frozen in time, birthdays, Christmases, beach vacations, and on the last pages, recent photos, the lunch at the restaurant, Tyler at the clinic with the animals, the sisters together again. "It's beautiful," she murmured. "Our family. It's whole again," Tyler said proudly. "Now Grandpa William just needs to stop making that grumpy face." The child's blunt observation made some laugh nervously. Grandpa William flushed. "Tyler," Jennifer gently scolded. "But it's true," the boy insisted. "He keeps giving Aunt Sam dirty looks." Samantha, who had stayed quiet, finally spoke. "It's okay, Tyler. I understand it's hard for your..." "Grandpa, change takes time." "Why is it hard?" Tyler asked, genuinely confused. "You're nice, you take care of animals, you make Aunt Amanda happy." Grandpa William stood abruptly and walked out to the garden. Grandma Margaret moved to follow him, but Amanda stopped her. "Let me go." Amanda found her father sitting on the garden bench, staring into the distance. "Dad?" "That boy," Grandpa William murmured. "He sees everything so simply." "Because for him it is simple." Amanda sat beside him. "He doesn't carry years of prejudice, fear, or expectations." "I was a terrible father." His voice cracked. "No," Amanda took his hand. "You were a father who made mistakes. But there's still time to make things right." "How? How do I look at that woman and accept that my daughter, that your daughter is happy?" Amanda finished gently. "Dad, I know it's hard, that it goes against everything you believed, but I'm still your daughter, the same one you taught to ride a bike, the one you sneaked ice cream to behind Mom's back, the one who sat on your lap listening to stories." Grandpa William looked at her, really looked, and saw the little girl who had once been his whole world. "I'm so afraid," he admitted. "Afraid of what people will say, how they'll treat you, that you'll suffer." "I've already suffered, Dad, a lot, but not for being who I am or loving who I love. I suffered because I was away from my family." They sat in silence for a moment before Grandpa William asked, "Does she treat you well, Samantha?" "Very well. She supports me, encourages me, makes me laugh. She's my partner in everything. And you, do you ever think about, I don't know, making it official?" Amanda smiled slightly. "Maybe one day, when the family's ready." Grandpa William nodded slowly. "I'll try," he said finally. "I can't promise it'll be easy or quick, but I'll try. For you, for your mother, for Tyler. That's all I ask." Father and daughter returned inside together. The lunch continued, still with awkward moments, but with a new sense of possibility. When Samantha was helping clear the table, Grandpa William approached her. "Miss Samantha." "Mr. William." He struggled with his words. "Thank you for making my daughter happy." Samantha smiled understandingly. "I'm the one who should thank you for her existence, and I hope one day you'll see me as part of the family too." "One day at a time," he replied, managing a small smile. Across the room, Tyler watched everything with his attentive eyes. "Mom," called Jennifer, "Grandpa's getting better, right?" "He is, sweetheart. Slowly, but he is." "That's good. Because Aunt Kelly said family is people who love each other even when it's hard." Jennifer hugged her son, amazed by his simple wisdom. "Aunt Kelly is right. Then our family is really strong," concluded Tyler, "because even with all the fights, everyone still loves each other." 3 months had passed since that first dramatic hearing. Life had found a new rhythm, not perfect, but functional. Tyler thrived in the new dynamic. The weeks with Jennifer were filled with school routines, homework, and movie nights. With Brian, there were park outings, cooking experiments. Brian discovered he loved to cook, and science projects. Amanda became the fun aunt who took Tyler on urban adventures, museums, exhibits, afternoons at Samantha's clinic learning about animals. His relationship with Samantha blossomed naturally, the boy enchanted by her stories and knowledge. It was during one of those afternoons at the clinic that another transformative moment happened. Tyler was helping care for an abandoned dog when he asked, "Aunt Sam, why do some people abandon their pets?" "Sometimes because they can't take care of them anymore, other times because they don't understand the responsibility," she explained while examining the animal. "Is it like some families?" Tyler continued, "who abandon people when they're different?" Samantha paused, exchanging a glance with Amanda. "Yes, Tyler, unfortunately it's similar, but abandoned pets can find new families, right? Ones who take better care of them." "They sure can." "Then it's okay," the boy smiled. "Aunt Amanda found you, and now you have a new family too." The profound simplicity of his observation left them both emotional. That night, during the weekly family dinner they had established, Tyler shared the story of the abandoned dog. "Let's adopt him," he suggested excitedly. "Tyler, having a pet is a big responsibility." Jennifer cautioned. "I know," Aunt Sam explained everything. "But I can take care of him, and when I'm at Dad's house, you can take care of him, and when I come back—" "We need to think about it," Brian interjected. "Talk it through properly. It's always like this." Tyler crossed his arms. "You always need to think, talk, decide. Why can't you just say yes?" "Because we're responsible adults," Jennifer replied. "Adults complicate everything," the boy grumbled. "He's right. Surprisingly, it was Grandpa William who spoke. Sometimes we overcomplicate things." Everyone looked at him. "If the boy wants a dog and is willing to take care of it, why not?" he continued. "It can teach responsibility, companionship. You're supporting the idea?" Jennifer was genuinely surprised. "I'm learning that," Grandfather said with a half smile, "that sometimes the best decisions are the simplest." "Say," Tyler jumped excitedly. "Grandpa gets it." The discussion about the dog continued, but the moment marked another shift. Grandpa William was, little by little, becoming more flexible, more open. A week later, Rocky, Tyler insisted, on the name, became the newest member of the family. A medium-sized caramel mutt who quickly won everyone's hearts. The logistics were complex. Who would take care of him when divided responsibilities shared costs? But it worked. Just like everything was starting to work in this new family arrangement, It was during one of the custody exchanges that Jennifer and Brian had an important conversation. "You know," she said, while Tyler played with Rocky. "In the yard, I think we're doing okay." "As parents, yes," Brian agreed, but Jennifer—" "I know," she gently interrupted. "We both do. There's no going back, is there?" "No," Jennifer confirmed, "but maybe it's better this way. We're better as friends, as partners in raising Tyler." "It hurts to admit," Brian sighed, "but you're right. When did we lose that?" Jennifer asked. "I don't know. Maybe when we stopped being Jennifer and Brian and just became Tyler's parents. Maybe when the secret started. Maybe it doesn't matter," Jennifer interrupted. "What matters is we're here now, doing our best for our son." "Are you happy?" Brian asked sincerely. Jennifer thought for a moment. "I'm at peace. And you?" "Me too, it's strange. But me too." Tyler ran up to them, Rocky at his heels. "Look, he already learned to sit." The parents smiled, united in their love for their son despite no longer being a couple. 6 months after the initial hearing, a new court meeting was scheduled to evaluate the family's progress. Judge Richard barely recognized the group that entered his office. Where there had once been tension and hostility, there was now calm cooperation. "Well," he began, reviewing the reports, "I see family mediation has been extremely successful." "It was a process," Jennifer admitted, "but worth it." "How's Tyler?" the judge asked. "Better than ever," Brian replied. "He has a big, loving family, even if it's unconventional, and shared custody. Working perfectly," they both confirmed. "Any outstanding issues?" Jennifer and Brian exchanged glances. "Actually," Jennifer started, "we'd like to formalize the divorce. Amicably, no disputes. But keeping shared custody as it is," Brian added. Judge Richard nodded. "I'm glad to see you've reached this decision maturely. And Tyler, how's he handling it?" "He understands," Jennifer said. "We explained that Mom and Dad love each other, but not as husband and wife. That we'll always be his parents, always family, just in a different way." "And he's right," Amanda interjected. "Our family is different, but it's strong." The judge smiled. "Tyler is a lucky boy. Not all children in separation situations have adults so committed to their well-being." "He taught us a lot," Grandma Margaret said, "about acceptance, unconditional love. About simplicity," Grandpa William added, surprising everyone again. "He made me see love doesn't have to fit into predefined boxes." Judge Richard observed the group, the cooperative parents, the united grandparents, the aunt reintegrated with her now accepted partner. "Folks," he said, "it's rare to see such a positive transformation. You took what could have been devastating for Tyler and turned it into an opportunity for growth for everyone." "The credit goes to Tyler," Brian said. "It was his courage that day that changed everything." "I can't lie anymore," Jennifer quoted. "Those words changed our lives." "For the better," Amanda finished, squeezing Samantha's hand. "Very well," the judge said. "I'll formalize the agreements. Shared custody remains, with the flexibility you've established. The divorce will proceed as requested, and Tyler, when you can, tell him the judge was very proud of his courage." As they left the courthouse, the group paused on the steps. "It's over," Jennifer said with relief and a touch of melancholy. "No," Grandma Margaret corrected. "It's begun. Our new family has truly started." A year later, the family gathered for a special occasion. Amanda and Samantha were making their union official. Tyler was thrilled, proud to be the ring bearer. Rocky, now a full-fledged family member, would wear a special bow tie. The ceremony would be small, intimate, in the backyard of Grandma Margaret and Grandpa William's home. An important symbolic gesture, the patriarch not just accepting but opening his home to celebrate his daughter's love. The night before, as they helped with preparations, Tyler made an observation. "You know what's cool? Our family is like a puzzle." "How so?" asked Jennifer, arranging the flowers. "Before, the pieces were all wrong, forced. Now everyone's found their right place and the picture looks beautiful." Brian stopped setting up the tables to look at his son. "You're very wise for an 8-year-old, you know." "9, corrected Tyler. "I turned 9 last month, Dad." "That's right," Brian laughed. 9 years old. "And you know what else?" Tyler continued. I think there's still room for more pieces." "What kind of pieces?" asked Samantha, curious. "I don't know." The boy shrugged. "But family can always grow, right?" The adults exchanged amused glances. Jennifer blushed slightly. Brian cleared his throat. Amanda and Samantha smiled. "We'll see," Jennifer said diplomatically. "For now, let's focus on tomorrow's wedding." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. The next day, the sun shone generously over Boston. The garden was decorated with elegant simplicity, white and lavender flowers, delicate lights, chairs arranged in a semicircle. Tyler waited eagerly at the entrance, Rocky sitting obediently by his side. He wore a light blue suit that Grandma Betty had picked out especially for him. "Ready, champ?" asked Brian, adjusting his son's tie. "Ready, but I'm nervous." "Why? What if I trip? What if Rocky runs off? What if—" "Hey," Jennifer knelt in front of him. "Breathe. You'll be perfect." "How do you know?" "Because you're our son," Jennifer and Brian said together, making Tyler smile. The ceremony began. Grandpa William, in a move that surprised many, offered to walk Amanda down the aisle. The man who had once kicked her out of his home was now leading her to happiness. "Thank you, Dad," Amanda whispered, emotional. "Thank you," he replied, "for not giving up on me." Samantha waited radiantly, Grandma Margaret by her side, representing the family she was gaining. Tyler performed his role perfectly, carrying the rings with Rocky marching proudly beside him. When the brides exchanged vows, not a single dry eye remained among the guests. "I promise to love you on all the easy days and the hard ones," said Amanda. "I promise to be your partner, your best friend, your chosen family. I promise to build a life of joy with you, even when the world doesn't understand our love." "I promise to stand by you in every battle," Samantha replied. "I promise to celebrate your victories and hold you through your defeats. I promise to love not just you, but all the beautiful, complicated things that come with you, your family, your story, your dreams." When they kissed, Tyler was the first to clap enthusiastically, spreading joy to everyone present. At the small but love-filled reception that followed, Tyler gave an impromptu speech. "I want to say something," he announced, climbing onto a chair. "Tyler." Jennifer tried to intervene, but Brian stopped her. "Let him speak." "When I told the judge I couldn't lie anymore, I was really scared," the boy began. "Scared my family would fall apart for good. But you know what happened? It got bigger. Now I have Mom, Dad, 4 grandparents, Aunt Amanda, Aunt Sam, and even Rocky." Emotional laughter rippled through the garden. "And I learned that family isn't about being perfect. It's about loving each other even when it's hard. It's about saying sorry when you're wrong. It's about second chances. It's about being happy just the way you are." He looked directly at Grandpa William. "Thank you, Grandpa, for learning to love Aunt Sam too. I know it was hard, but you did it." Grandpa William raised his glass, tears streaming down his face. "And thank you, Aunt Amanda and Aunt Sam, for showing that love is love no matter what form it takes. You're both so brave." The brides hugged, crying. "And Mom and Dad," Tyler continued, "thank you for staying friends even though you're not married anymore. That way I don't have to choose." Jennifer and Brian stepped closer to their son, each taking one of his hands. "And now," Tyler concluded, "our family is complete, different from before, but so much better." "A toast," Grandma Margaret proposed, "to our imperfect, wonderful family." "To family," everyone cheered. 2 years passed. Life went on with the normal ups and downs of any family. Jennifer started dating Edward Miller, a history teacher at the school where she worked. The introduction was careful, respecting Tyler's feelings. Brian met Rebecca at a tech conference. Both relationships blossomed with Tyler's surprising support. He declared he was happy to see his parents happy. "But you'll always be my parents," he made clear, "together or apart, with or without partners." Amanda and Samantha began the adoption process. They wanted to give a child the chance to have the loving family they'd built. Tyler was thrilled at the idea of having a cousin. Grandpa William, in a change no one could have predicted, became a quiet advocate for LGBTQ+ rights in his social circle. When asked, he simply said, "I have a gay daughter. The least I can do is make sure she has the same rights as anyone else." It was on an ordinary Sunday afternoon that Tyler, now 11, shared the thought that summed up their entire journey. "Mum, remember when I was afraid our family would fall apart?" "I do," Jennifer answered, preparing lunch. Edward helped with the salad. "Such nonsense, right? Family doesn't end. It just changes shape." "How did you get so wise?" asked Edward, who had been fully embraced by Tyler. "By living," the preteen replied simply, "and seeing that adults make mistakes and learn too." Brian arrived with Rebecca for their monthly family lunch. Soon after, Amanda and Samantha showed up with adoption updates. The grandparents came last, Grandpa William carrying a cake he'd baked himself, another of life's many surprises. As they ate, talked, laughed, and occasionally argued, because that's what family does, Tyler watched contentedly. His family wasn't conventional. It didn't fit traditional molds, but it was his, real, built on love, forgiveness, and acceptance. "What are you thinking about?" Grandma Margaret asked, noticing her great-grandson's distant look. "That Judge Richard would be proud," Tyler answered. "We turned something bad into something good." "You did," Amanda corrected. "It was your courage that started it all." "No," Tyler shook his head. "It was love. Even when it was hidden, even when it was hurt, love was always here. I just helped it come out." Rocky barked in agreement, making everyone laugh. The afternoon continued with games, stories, and plans for the future. A family that could have shattered but chose to rebuild. Different, bigger, stronger. 5 years after that fateful hearing, Tyler, now 14, stood on the school stage presenting a project on family diversity. Tall for his age, he still had the freckles that marked him as a child, but his eyes held a maturity beyond his years. "Family," he began, looking at the audience where all his loved ones sat, "isn't about blood or last names. It's not about traditional setups or social expectations. Family is about choice, the daily choice to love, support, accept, and grow together." He clicked to the slide showing a photo of his family from last Christmas. Jennifer and Edward Miller, now her husband, Brian and Rebecca, engaged, Amanda and Samantha, with little Sophie, whom they had adopted, all 4 grandparents, and him in the center with Rocky, who was now graying. "My family is what many would call modern or non-traditional," he continued. "My parents are divorced but best friends. I have stepfathers who love me without trying to replace my parents. My aunt is married to another woman, and they have a beautiful daughter. My grandparents learned that love doesn't come in just one shape." The audience listened intently. Jennifer wiped away quiet tears. Brian filmed proudly. "But you know what matters most?" Tyler paused dramatically. "We're happy. Not perfect, not free of problems, but happy. Because we've learned that real family is the one that accepts you as you are, not as they wanted you to be." He looked directly at Grandpa William, who nodded encouragingly. 5 years ago, I told a judge I couldn't lie anymore. It was the hardest and most important thing I've ever done, because sometimes the truth hurts, but a lie kills you slowly." Sophie, now 3, wriggled out of Amanda's arms and ran down the aisle shouting, "Cousin Tyler," drawing laughter from the crowd. Tyler scooped her up, improvising, "And this little one is proof that family can always grow." Sophie came to remind us that love has no limits. "Love," Sophie repeated, melting everyone's hearts. "To conclude," Tyler said, adjusting her on his hip, "I want to leave you with this. If your family is different, if you don't fit the mold, if the love in your home takes shapes others don't understand, that's okay. What matters is that it's real, that it's chosen, that it's lived with courage." The applause was thunderous. On their feet, his whole family celebrated not just the presentation, but the journey that had brought them there. Later at the celebration dinner, Dr. Rebecca Cohen appeared as a surprise guest. "Tyler," she greeted him warmly, "I heard about your presentation. Congratulations." "Thank you for everything," he said sincerely. "You helped save our family." "No," she corrected. "You saved yourselves. I just made the process easier. Judge Richard had also been invited. He arrived with a gift for Tyler, a book on family law. "For a future lawyer?" he teased. "Maybe," Tyler smiled. "Or a psychologist, or a social worker, someone who helps families like you and Attorney Sarah helped ours. You'll be great at whatever you choose," the judge said. "You have the empathy and courage it takes." During dinner, Jennifer stood for a toast. To Tyler, who taught us that the truth sets you free. To Amanda, who showed us courage. To all of us, who learned that family is more about choosing to love than about obligation. "And to the future," Brian added, "which will surely bring more surprises, more members, more love." Almost prophetically, Rebecca chose that moment to whisper something in Brian's ear. His eyes widened, then he grinned broadly. "Everyone," he announced excitedly, "Rebecca's pregnant." The explosion of joy was immediate. Tyler rushed to hug his father and stepmother. "I'm going to be a big brother." "The best," Rebecca assured him, emotional. "Another piece for our puzzle family," Tyler said, recalling his analogy from years ago. Grandpa William, who years earlier had struggled to accept his daughter's sexuality, was one of the first to congratulate them. "This baby will be born into a family full of love. I couldn't ask for more." The evening continued with celebrations, plans and name discussions. Sophie fell asleep in Tyler's arms, and he watched her with the fondness of an experienced older brother. "What are you thinking about?" Samantha asked. "That she'll never know our broken family," he replied. "To her, we've always been like this, united, diverse, loving." "It's a gift," observed Amanda. "Growing up where differences are normal, where love doesn't need an explanation." "Everyone should have that," said Tyler thoughtfully. "Everyone should be able to be who they are without fear." Jennifer watched her son, her heart full of pride. The frightened boy who 5 years earlier had trembled before a judge had become a confident, empathetic young man, wise beyond his years. 2 years later, Tyler's middle school graduation was another family milestone. He had been chosen as class speaker, an honor he accepted with his characteristic humility. In his speech, he talked about transformation, about how experiences shape us, and the importance of being true to ourselves. But it was at the end that he touched hearts. "I want to especially thank my family." "Yes, all of it," he said with a smile. "My parents, who taught me that love can change form without diminishing. My step-parents, who chose to love me. My aunts, who showed me love has no gender. My grandparents, who proved it's never too late to change. My sister Sophie, who teaches me daily about pure joy. And little Ethan, my 6-month-old brother, who came to make our family puzzle even more complete." Rocky, now old and moving slowly, lay at the family's feet, an integral part of the group to the end. "But I also want to thank the 9-year-old boy I once was," Tyler paused, emotional, "who had the courage to speak the truth even when scared. He didn't know it, but he was planting seeds for the beautiful family we have today." The gym erupted in applause. Tyler stepped off the stage straight into a collective family hug that included 4 parents, 4 grandparents, 2 aunts, 2 siblings, and 1 sleepy dog. After the ceremony, as they took photos, a mother timidly approached Jennifer. "Sorry to bother you," she said, "but I heard your son's speech. My family is going through a difficult divorce and would you like to talk?" Jennifer offered kindly. As the 2 mothers spoke, Tyler watched. His story, his family, was inspiring others. The cycle of healing was expanding. Amanda walked up to him. "Proud of you, nephew." "You know, Aunt," Tyler said, "sometimes I think about what would have happened if I hadn't spoken up that day. We'd probably all still be unhappy, trapped in lies and appearances." "It was scary," he admitted, "but worth it." "The best changes usually are," Amanda agreed, "but you gave us the courage to face them." Sophie ran over to them, now 5 years old and full of energy. Tyler, Mom said next year I'm going to big school like you did." "And it'll be amazing," he assured her, scooping her up. "I'm going to tell everyone about our big family," she declared. "Do that," Tyler encouraged. "Show them family is love no matter the shape." The celebration continued at the family's favorite restaurant, the same one where years earlier, Jennifer had first met Samantha. Circles closing, new ones opening. During dinner, Grandpa William raised his voice. "I'd like to make an announcement," he said. "Margaret and I have decided to start a foundation." Everyone stopped eating, listening intently. "The Inclusive Family Foundation," he continued, "to support families in transition, offer mediation, and especially to combat prejudice against non-traditional families." The stunned silence was broken by Tyler. "Grandpa, that's amazing." "It was your grandmother's idea," Grandpa William said, looking fondly at Margaret. "But I fully support it. If our family could transform, others can too." "We'd like Tyler to be our youth ambassador," added Grandma Margaret, "if he accepts." "Of course I accept," Tyler beamed. Jennifer exchanged emotional glances with Brian. Their son, who had once been the victim of a painful separation, was now becoming a voice for other children in the same situation. "We have a surprise too," announced Samantha. "Amanda and I are expecting another baby." The second wave of celebration was even greater. Sophie jumped excitedly at the prospect of being a big sister. "Our family just keeps growing," Grandma Betty observed happily. "And there's still room for more," Grandpa Frank added, winking at his grandchildren. The evening ended with promises, plans, and shared dreams. The foundation, the new babies, the endless possibilities of a family that had learned love knows no bounds. 3 years later, the Inclusive Family Foundation had already helped hundreds of families. Tyler, now 17, regularly spoke at schools and events about his experience. It was during one of these talks that fate had another surprise in store. "Any questions?" Tyler opened the floor after his presentation at a public school in the Southern District. A boy of about 10 timidly raised his hand. "My parents are getting divorced," he said in a shaky voice, "and they want me to choose who to live with. I don't know what to do." Tyler felt a powerful déjà vu. He stepped down from the stage and approached the boy. "What's your name?" "Jackson." "Jackson, you shouldn't have to choose between people you love," Tyler said gently. "Your parents need to understand that. But they fight so much. Mine did too. But you know what I learned? Sometimes adults need kids to show them the way." Tyler glanced at the teacher. "Can I talk to Jackson's parents?" And so began another journey of healing. With the Foundation's support, Tyler mediated conversations between Jackson's parents. Jennifer and Brian shared their own experience. Even Grandpa William joined in, speaking about the importance of putting children first. 6 months later, Jackson sent Tyler a letter. "Thank you for showing me I didn't have to choose. My parents still aren't friends like yours, but they stopped fighting in front of me. And I can love them both without feeling guilty. You saved my family." Tyler read the letter aloud at Sunday dinner. "You're making a difference," Jennifer said proudly. "We are," Tyler corrected. "Every one of us, by living our truth, shows others it's possible." Sophie, now 8, and Michael, Amanda, and Samantha's new baby played on the floor with Ethan. Rocky had passed peacefully 2 years earlier, but his legacy of unconditional love remained. The family had recently adopted 2 puppies, Rocky Jr. and Mischief, keeping the tradition alive. "You know what I've realized," Brian said. "Our story started with one brave kid telling the truth, and now it's inspiring other kids to do the same." "It's a beautiful cycle," agreed Rebecca, pregnant with their second child. "Hey," Tyler said, "what if we wrote a book, our story?" "A book?" Amanda perked up. "Why not? It could help more families. Show them the road is hard but possible." "I'm in," Grandpa William said immediately. "We could donate the profits to the foundation." "From Courtroom to Love, How a Family Rebuilt Itself," Samantha suggested. "Too formal," Jennifer laughed. "The Truth That Set Us Free?" "Or just family," Tyler offered. "Because that's what it's really about." The discussion about the book continued lively, each contributing memories, perspectives, and lessons. It was Grandma Margaret who made the final observation that night. "You know, when Tyler spoke, those words in court, I thought it was the end, but it was just the beginning. The beginning of being who we truly are," Amanda agreed. "And discovering that real love doesn't just accept, It celebrates differences, Samantha added. Tyler looked around the table at his big, loud, imperfect, and wonderful family. The scared 9-year-old boy could never have imagined ending up here. "Thank you," he said simply, "all of you, for never giving up. On me, on yourselves, on us." "Thank you," Jennifer replied, "for having the courage we adults didn't have." The dinner continued as usual, filled with laughter, debates, babies crying, dogs barking, and overflowing love. A family that could have fallen apart, but chose instead to become a mosaic, each piece unique, yet together forming something beautiful and resilient. Epilogue, 10 years after the hearing. The law school auditorium was packed. Tyler Johnson, now 24, was defending his master's thesis on family mediation and the best interest of the child. In the front row, his family took up 2 entire rows: Jennifer and Edward Miller, Brian Johnson and Rebecca with their 3 kids, Amanda and Samantha Reed with Sophie and Michael, and all 4 grandparents, Grandpa William now needing a cane but present and proud. And so I conclude by reiterating that a child's best interest isn't about choosing between parents, but having access to love from both, Tyler finished. Families in the 21st century need 21st century solutions, rooted in love, respect, and acceptance, not outdated models. The panel was unanimous approval with honors, but it was the comment from Dr. Rebecca Cohen, the guest panelist, that moved everyone. "Tyler, you've turned your personal experience into knowledge that will benefit countless families. You're living proof that the greatest transformations can arise from crisis." Later at the celebration, Judge Richard, also in attendance, raised a toast. "To the boy who stopped my courtroom with 5 words, and to the man he's become." "It was 6 words, Tyler corrected with a laugh. "I can't lie anymore, Your Honor." 6 words that changed dozens of lives, Jennifer said. Sophie, now 15 and as articulate as her cousin, stood. "First, did I want to say something? Tyler always talks about that day in court as the moment everything changed. But for me and Michael, for Ethan, Claire, and the baby on the way," she glanced at Rebecca, pregnant again, "you didn't change. You've always been like this, a big, loving family that taught us different is normal, that love doesn't come in just one shape. And that's the greatest gift," Michael added, now 12. "Growing up where being yourself isn't just accepted, it's celebrated." Grandpa William wiped away a stubborn tear. "Look what we've built," he said. "From my prejudice, from our pain, this was born." "Love, Dad," Amanda said. "Love multiplied." The celebration lasted well into the night, 4 generations honoring not just Tyler's academic achievement, but the extraordinary journey of an ordinary family that chose love over fear, truth over lies, acceptance over prejudice. At the end of the evening, Tyler stepped onto the terrace for a quiet moment. Jennifer followed. "What are you thinking about?" "That 9-year-old boy. How scared he was. But he was brave. You know what amazes me most?" Tyler looked at his mother. "You could have told me to stay quiet. You could have kept up appearances, but you chose to listen. You saved us, Tyler, from ourselves." "No," he shook his head. "We saved each other together." Mother and son stood in comfortable silence, gazing at the city below. "Mom?" "Yes?" "Thank you for letting me tell the truth." Jennifer hugged her son, now taller than her. "Thank you for having the courage to say it." From inside came laughter, music, life. Their family, living proof that love finds a way, that truth sets free, that one child's courage can transform generations. Tyler smiled. The 9-year-old boy who couldn't lie anymore had found his truth. And with it, he'd helped his family find theirs. The story that began in a cold courtroom with a painful confession had become a testament to love, acceptance, and the transformative power of truth. Because in the end, family isn't about perfection. It's about choosing to love, day after day, truth after truth, until love is bigger than any fear. And somewhere in the city, other families were facing their own truths, inspired by the courage of a boy who dared to say, "I can't lie anymore." The cycle continued. Love multiplied. The truth set them free, one family at a time. The end of the story. And so we come to the end of this heartwarming family journey. Tyler's courage teaches us that the truth, no matter how difficult, always paves the way for genuine love. Now we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever needed bravery like Tyler's? How did your family handle big changes? Share your experience in the comments. We'd love to know your story. If this narrative touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring tales. Until next time.